about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting not from a lush and lavish whatever I say every week, but instead from multiple undisclosed locations, except for Matt Bassler, who lives at 319. We are Real Spoilers. It's episode, hang on, where's my Word document that tells me? 724, M3GAN.
M3GAN. Yeah,
I think that's how it's
sounds about right.
pronounced, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Don't you usually do a silly name at the beginning? You usually say it wrong or something. But
No, if you listened last week, we say correct titles now. We had The Menu.
That's
now
true.
we have M3GAN. So
Well, what they don't tell you is there have been 2 other Megans before this. We just haven't seen them.
yeah,
This is the third in the trilogy. We just had no idea.
Like Star Wars. It works
Just-
so well for Star Wars.
yeah.
That's right.
hey, that is true though, right? Because it's Model 3 blah, 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 blah. So
Yes.
what did they call
Bob.
McGraw and M3GAN?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd like to know the other ones. And also, if they make a sequel to this, which they sure want to, and by the box office, it looks like they may. If they don't call it Megan with a 2, but then it's like M3GAN, and then the sequel would be M2GAN. So like, it just doesn't. They didn't think this out. That's the problem.
Blumhouse dropped the ball.
Maybe 2 was perfect and it wouldn't have gone off the rails, but they were like, yeah, but we got to do it one more time so it looks like it says Megan.
Make the hubris of man.
Although I will say that we only see that logo treatment in the film advertisements. We don't see it in the movie itself, right?
That's true. Yeah, they do call her Megan without the 3.
No, they call her Megan with the 3. It's in the movie. She's the Model 3 generative android. So,
but when they put out the promo material, it's just Megan. There's
it's
3 in her name.
It's 3 lines.
The 3
it's an E or like 3 Roman numerals turned sideways. So it's never an E.
Good Lord.
It just looks, it looks more like
that does sound like something corporate would do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the first one had a different name. It was like Tula.
Oh, cool.
Don't
Or
trademark
Tallulah.
Real Spoilers. Don't stop giving away ideas.
So anyway, let's go around so I should say we're all virtual this week, not because of COVID, but because I'm out of town. So I am in Norwalk, Connecticut, visiting a college for my son.
I love Norwalk.
Attend.
I thought you were just scouting out houses for all that, spend all that clip out money on.
Yeah, moving to Connecticut.
Yeah.
So let's go around the virtual table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
Is Matt a guest or is he in the rotation now? I don't know.
I figured he'd be in. I figured he'd be in the rotation.
Yeah, I feel like you're in the rotation.
Yeah.
But we're all in different places on each other's screens. We don't know what it's me, Matt. I'm Matt.
Who are you?
He did that so poorly. I don't think he should be in the rotation anymore.
Yeah, you just got kicked out. You're a guest now. Sorry.
Your guess, yeah. If he was worthy, he would have just known.
Now you gotta wait, and then when Tom will introduce you. So don't. Now that you're back to being a guest, you just gotta wait.
Okay. I won't talk. I won't talk.
But this is Kevin.
And this is Tom. And joining us, very frequent guest of the show, Matt F. Bassler.
Hey.
He's part
And
of the goal.
host, and host of the Real Spoilers Patreon.
Yeah.
Well, that's unrelated, though.
And former regular Real Spoilers rotation member.
Yeah.
But
Brief but beautiful run.
He's part of the gold jacket or the green jacket club. Like that's
he's like the Conan O'Brien of being in the rotation of Real Spoilers. He had it for like
great.
3 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Dang.
So
don't worry, he turned out okay.
So before we get too involved in things, let's do some shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us while you're there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. I hear tell that we might
We do.
have a new review.
We do. This is a 5-star review from Mike Stallone, no relation. And the title is Always Worth a Listen. I've been a listener for about a year now and realized I haven't left a review. First off, I would highly recommend this podcast. The dynamics between the hosts are really entertaining and fun to listen to. They do a great job of going through the movies and they tend to have a variety of entertaining stories. Well, some of us do.
Ooh, hang on. Which one of us are you calling out?
Whoever. I'll let you figure it out. It's like the firing squad where somebody's got a bullet. We just don't know who.
Yeah, but he's not in the rotation anymore, so it doesn't really matter.
That's good. Yeah.
There can be some unrelated tangents like that one, but I tend to like these, and I think that just goes to show how close-knit the hosts are. Every so often I watch a somewhat recent movie and get excited that I can now go back and listen to the review. Matt, did you leave this review? Is this you? However, there are definitely movies that I don't bother watching because I know they will be bad and I will get more enjoyment from the podcast itself. If you love movies, you should absolutely check this podcast out.
Awesome.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Mike Stallone, no relation.
That's right.
And
That was very nice.
It was very nice. You can also join the League of Show Shares. Oh, I should do the Facebook stuff. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And if you would like, what's very helpful, if you want to share an episode in your Facebook or Twitter feed, we would like you a little extra. So people who were kind enough to share an episode last week, and we have a ton of new show shares this week.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome.
For whatever that means, like a lot. So
wow.
I don't know what happened, but I think
Judging by
Elon.
our downloads from the month prior, we don't know either.
Yeah, we're finally famous. So here we go. People who were kind enough to share an episode last week: Lane Levanway, Chris Valls, Tammy Lynn Powers, Betts, Matt Reedy, Julianne Jordan, Travis Tewitt, Chris Magic Man, Librarian Cynthia, Katie Brackett, which we might need to have like a Brad Hyan's wife rule.
Yeah, right.
But what are the chances of him finding somebody, right?
Sorry, Brad.
Yeah.
And your girlfriend, who I think that you have.
Well, have we ever seen her in real life?
You know what? That's a valid point.
Yeah,
I did go to a movie one time with someone who purported to be the woman. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that was legit or hired for appearances, but I mean, supposedly.
And that movie was Phantom Menace. That's how long ago it was. So. Anyway, coming up next on our list is, oddly enough, Brad Hyan. So there we go. Jason Petrillo, I hope I'm saying that right, Joshua Connolly, Andrew Stovall, Ryan Burdick, Rich Foster, Justin Equiville, Patrick Johnson. Those are all...
That's awesome, man.
Brand new League of Show Sharers. So thank God Dan's not here to have to write songs. He would have, if we were still doing songs for new League of Show Sharers, Dan would be exhausted.
This would be like a bonus episode. We'd be like, listen to the 724B for the songs.
Yeah.
He would have quit a second time.
Yeah.
What did I do to not get in the list?
What's the issue?
I don't think he's
Am
done
I-
reading yet.
Huh?
He's not
There's
done
more.
We're
yet.
not done.
Oh, he's not done.
No, that was just a
I'm
section of people
complaining
that are
too
new.
soon.
Yeah. So he's so touchy.
Oh my
I thought it
gosh.
could have been
Really
the first
glad
time
we don't
I
have
shared
him
it.
in the rotation.
He's like,
Yeah,
I
could you
wasn't even
imagine?
on that episode. Of course I get my name read.
So here we go. Ralph Tribble, Josh Rosen, Gabriel Lugo, Christopher Rex, Heather Sachs, Matt Bassler. I'm removing the F just because of your interjection.
That's
Now-
you're dead naming me.
Is he related? Is he related to Matt F. Bosler?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No relation.
No relation.
Yeah, he's also not related to Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, okay. But oddly enough, second cousins.
Right. Cinema Recall, Lele Shirigan, Evelyn TAA, Matt Niglia, Chris Williams, Spoiler Piece Theater, Dissect That Film, In Session Film, Ryan Terry, Geek to Me Radio, Mike and Oscar, Invasion of the Remake, Nostalgia Cast, and Feelin' Film. So thank you very much, everyone.
That's awesome.
The power of the menu.
Yeah. Everyone except Matt F. Bosler.
Maybe people are really just searching for what to eat that night.
Oh, I like that. That's a good
Across the
point.
episode.
Whatever gets a share.
And I'm
Yeah,
not saying. I
we'll
mean,
take
then they go, oh well, here's a podcast. Maybe I'll just listen to this podcast. They like it, they share it. I'm not trying to say they didn't enjoy it. I'm saying that's why they found it. That's how I look for food. I type in menu.
into Apple Podcasts.
Just menu.
Into Spotify. That always works out. I did want to give a formal apology to Cody Mastel, our Patreon subscriber, who messaged us right before he started listening to our episode on the menu. And just said, before I listen, I want to say that this movie is dog bakok, and if Joe somehow finds a way to defend it, I'm out.
Oh, I found a way, but it wasn't just me.
Said maybe just skip this episode. He said, "Are you kidding me? I can't wait to yell at my phone and listen. You guys are ridiculous."
That actually also sounds like something that Matt F. Bosler would write.
It does.
Yeah,
sure. Is he every single listener of ours?
I mean, sure.
Sorry,
I hope
guys.
so.
I hate to break it.
It would
to
explain
you.
a lot.
It would explain a lot. That's true.
He's back there with he's doing like the Freddy Got Fingered piano wires on different keyboards, and he's just typing them all and controlling them. The puppet master.
So finally, we should probably talk about Patreon. Patreon.com/real spoilers, where for $5 a month you get bonus content and you get even more Matt F. Bosler.
Ooh, how much more?
And the F, I got the F. It's my it's my podcast. Me and Joe host it. It's great.
You know how much more you get on Patreon? He's Matt G. Bosler.
Yeah,
That
much more.
And we've got it's exciting over there. We got a really early start on Christmas movies this year.
We decided to jumpstart it.
It's New Year's Evil.
12 months, yeah. Did you listen to that, Matt, where Kevin thought that I made up the title New Year's Evil?
No.
Can you believe that Kevin gave me so much credit that I would think of something clever to say?
What a dink.
That's funny.
Out of my room.
Yeah. I thought it was very funny. He's like, oh, no, you came up with this thing. I was like, that's a movie. It's
No
not
idea.
me.
Well, that's why we had to have our horror expert and aficionado, Matt F. Bosler, on the show.
That's right.
He's so dedicated. You might remember that when we did the Saw, he went back and watched all the Saws. He's actually seen the first two M3GAN movies.
Yeah.
That's how committed he is.
Yeah.
Well,
very loosely connected.
They were who's the guy who was in the original Meet the Parents? It's never been seen. That there's an original Meet the Parents.
I don't remember his name. I know Emo Phillips was in it, but it wasn't an Emo Phillips movie.
No. Matt F. Bosler is our Emo Phillips. He has the two M3GANs that never were released, but he's got them on reel to reel. That's the only way we can watch them.
Jason Blum bought them so that he could make M3GAN and shelved them.
Yeah.
I think the first one is Lucy.
Oh, no.
It's just all names.
It's all one.
You know?
It's all ones.
Perfect.
Yes.
So can you give us a quick recap of what happened in the first two, Matt?
Oh yeah, sure. They're trying to make this doll, and it's just unsuccessful. Nothing really eventful happens.
Does Fisher Stevens dress in a somewhat problematic?
Somewhat, very problematic.
Yeah, right. And do a problematic accent on top of it?
Well, hold on, catch me up.
That was a short circuit. That was a short circuit reference.
Why are we talking? What? I missed a connecting thread somewhere.
I was just thinking of other robot movies.
Okay,
Building
there
robots.
it is.
Okay.
There it is.
Building
Johnny
robots.
Five's
I
a
can
robot.
see how that would get confusing and talking about the first two movies about someone building robots, how that wouldn't really...
How Johnny Five would not come up at all.
And, of course, when I watch that, I think, what a tribute to a culture, another culture. This is beautiful. I love this.
So, you know what? So Short Circuit is actually M3GAN 1. M3GAN 2 is actually just the robot from Rocky 4 that says Happy Birthday, Polly.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually
Bring it
Real
back.
Steel. Real Steel is the... bringing it back.
Yeah.
Poor Mike
Well, because
Stallone.
Real Steel is closer to that Bob or whatever, right?
When Bob stood up, I was like, oh yeah, okay. They just took that from Real Steel. Got it.
With the hand controls and everything like that.
Yes,
basically.
the whole shebang. As I'm watching this movie, I was like, this feels odd, like a weird companion piece to Malignant.
Well, do you
Dude,
know why
they
that
gotta
is?
get 'em
I was
together.
just going to tell you why that was. It's written by the same person.
Yes. So
Yeah.
If I don't see
So he's getting
Gabriel,
She's getting better.
She's
Yes.
getting better.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. Say it, Matt.
They have to. Gabriel, M3GAN, teaming up.
Well, did you hear the news? So
Yes.
last month it was announced that James Wan and Blumhouse are looking to combine their two companies. That's awfully coincidental after the release of *Malignant* and then now this release of M3GAN, and they want to join companies.
Oh man,
It's
new
coming.
lines by
It's so
Friday
weird.
the 13th. It's happening.
*Malignant*.
Malignant. Holy cow. Stop giving them ideas, because that's going to happen. They're
Well,
going to
That's
steal it.
awesome.
This is time stamped.
Yeah, right. But it is if you were to watch those like back to back, they would make a pretty spot on like double feature, because it does kind of have like the same elements that *Malignant* had, but I think this one was better.
Oh no!
They both have the element.
This one was
of-
better. Joe's right.
No. Matt, I need backup here.
Well, here's my issue, I guess, with both of these movies. The whole time I'm going, how funny are these supposed to be?
I totally agree with you.
Well, this one seemed like it was more of a comedy than I mean.
I would agree. It opens with a joke, right? It opens with a fake commercial, which was so
thought
well
you-
done. The people in my theater wouldn't stop talking during it.
I was like,
So
killing the parents is a joke to you?
no, it opens with
Forgot
that
about
fake.
I forgot about the commercial.
Yeah.
It is. I will say that is the drawback to this movie. That is one of the negatives. Is it is PG-13, and sometimes when Blumhouse does the PG-13, it walks a really thin line.
Hellfest, also written by Akela Cooper.
Then and that's rated R, but also Hellfest.
That one
is
was
very-
rated R.
I think so. No,
and a waste of a great concept.
I thought that was the PG. The reason why it didn't go as hard was because it was.
Is that the haunted house one?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
maybe I was mistaken. What's the one that didn't they do a more of a PG-13 like carnival-ish?
Haunt. There was a movie called Haunt.
Maybe I'm thinking of that. There was some PG-13 that I may be mistaken where I was like, this just, I don't know. But you're right. I mean, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And
But
I don't,
Blumhouse has figured that out, right? Like this is kind of their bread and butter.
They know how to
is
make money.
They make these PG-13 horror movies, and for the most part, they do kind of walk that line where it's like, okay, I could see where if you take this like turn it like one dial to the louder, you get a rated R.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's straight up PG-13. Like there's nothing in this movie. Like Bella wanted to go see it, and I was after watching the trailer, I was like, nah, I'll go watch it first.
I just want to talk about that. What is this weird thing where like they marketed this to Gen Z? Like, why are kids wanting to see this? Because she dances in the commercial? It's just a weird thing that I'm not really in tune with. But apparently, like this movie made a ton of money, and people keep talking about it being a Gen Z TikTok horror movie. I'm like, what?
I don't think that's outside of the realm of truth, right? Like
I
this
guess
is
there's
kind of
like a tech element.
That's what I was
But
thinking.
it's clearly an anti
very
tech.
much so.
message. So I don't. There's an iPad in it.
But
I think they marketed this. I almost think they must have marketed it more aggressively than we think. Not just. I mean, it makes sense to Gen Z. If you're going to make it PG-13, then go after teenagers.
Right.
But I will say, I was at dinner last night and with a group of probably 10 or 15 people, and there were a couple people that were easily in their 50s, and they were saying they've been seeing ads for it nonstop. So
it shows up on everything.
yeah.
So I wonder if it's because it's so NBC. I see it on Peacock, like anything that you would watch on Peacock.
Sure,
that
it's
would have
Universal,
ads.
Blumhouse,
There we
so it
go.
would
That
make
makes
sense,
total
yeah.
sense. And then they must have bought like all kinds of. I don't know how you buy advertising on YouTube. Like, you know, in the Super Bowl, you're like, I'll take 3 minutes here, and you pay X amount of dollars. Like with YouTube, do you just pay like?
It's just targeted like
It's
Google.
like
You
it's
can
Google.
target. I think you can
So
target it based on
ads.
demos, or you can target it based. You can say, I want to run. You know, if you have, you know, like I do it for concerts. So if I know I have John Michael Montgomery coming, which I do, I'll be like, run it in front of John Michael Montgomery videos. But then I can also say, run it in front of Tracy Lawrence videos, and run it in front of Alan Jackson videos, and you know,
Joe,
Sneaky way to promote that show, Tom. The bill will be in the mail.
yeah, because our listeners give two shits about John Michael Montgomery.
Joe, you probably saw it because they put in guys that like the horror movies.
So you saw it a bunch too, then, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So So we already mentioned that this is written by Akela Schaefer, who did Hellfest and then the masterpiece Malignant. And so this is her third film that she's written. It's produced by Jason Blum. And so it's got the Blumhouse, $12 million budget. It's already made $15 million, which most of that came from Friday. So it's doing the Blumhouse thing where it's January. They dropped this horror movie with all this marketing. It's already made back its budget, easily within the weekend. So it's, we see this time and time again, and we talk about James Wan. We talk about who are the people in horror right now, and it's Jason Blum and it's James Wan. If they combine forces, it's like these two know exactly what they're doing, how to reach modern horror lovers and audiences, and they're getting them to the theater. One, they did it during the pandemic, and two, they can do it in January.
What did they do during the pandemic?
They just got people to horror movies. Just got people to go see movies. No matter horror audiences, as we know, love to go see these movies in the theater. Yeah. And so they've got the
horror audiences, as we know, are COVID deniers. So they'll go see movies during the pandemic.
Well, if I could just... What it is, Tom.
Save it for the pizza podcast.
We're back on Liberty.
Different podcast, sorry.
Here, you know what? Horror movies fans, we know, they just like to do their own research. That's all.
I'm not saying it's not real. I'm just saying.
I feel like with the recent events on Twitter, maybe we should take the pizza part out of it, just to err on the side of caution. I don't need any Hungarian authorities breaking in and arresting me.
It's always pizza. It's always pizza.
It's all Pizzagate.
Yeah. Here's another way to tackle that. Don't break the law.
There it is. You know what? I keep. Yep, you're absolutely
always
right.
skipping past part 1 and going to 2, 3, 4. But really, there's just that first part.
Not unlike M3GAN, which starts with part 3.
Exactly.
That's true.
But this is directed by Gerard Johnstone. And I don't know if you're familiar with, he's a TV director. He directed one film before this called Housebound in 2014.
Oh, Housebound's actually kind of good. Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
I think it's a found footage one, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
Wait, did he predict the pandemic?
Yeah, right. See,
he knew.
It's all coming back. Get your...
Oh, no. I know what this is. Yeah, this is not bad. This is all right.
Okay. So, and then I don't know the Jackie Brown Diaries from before that. Terry Teo is another series and a director also of The New Legends of Monkey in 2018.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with those, but
I wonder if Blumhouse and James Wan, if they combine, by our powers combined, if they start to take that Marvel approach, that they'll just moneyball it. Well, they'll find a guy or gal that can can direct a movie. I think they did that with the third Conjuring. I think that wasn't James Wan. He didn't do that. He brought, I think it's Gary Doberman, I think is the guy's name. But he has these people that have worked with him throughout all with the Annabelle stuff or the Saw stuff, Lee Winnell. Lee Winnell is kind of a big deal with Upgrade.
I didn't realize. Do you know James Wan has a co-writing credit on this movie? I guess they come as a package. I guess Akela Cooper and James Wan are writing partners because with Malignant that would make sense. But
I thought James Wan's wife did that.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But but he directed *Malignant*, and I thought had either a story credit or something to go along with that. But I didn't realize he was involved in this. So that makes the partnership make more sense. They're working together on stuff. This is
that's good.
This is produced by both Jason Blum and Blumhouse, but also James Wan has a producer credit and a co-writing credit. So clearly they work well together. They're primed to keep releasing horror movies that are successful. This thing, I could not believe it when I messaged Tom earlier because I was like, how much did this thing make? And I know it's a Blumhouse movie and whatever, but it said Friday it made $12 million, which was the budget. So in January, that blows my mind with Avatar out. Not that Avatar is not making money, but it's just people will show up to this movie in droves.
You make a horror movie and you market it the right way, people are going to show up.
Bingo. And that's where I think Blumhouse comes in, right? Their marketing is really, really good. Where another horror movie, it might make a couple million and horror fans want to turn up to see it, but there's something different in his formula that really appeals to people. And I didn't see the advertising, but like Tom said, people have been talking about it. They've seen it. I've seen them tweeting about it, and I hear people talking about M3GAN. And so clearly it's reached all sorts of different demographics, and they showed up.
That weird dancing clip is the one that I kept
That's
seeing.
what I'm saying. Yeah. People keep talking about that. And that is 2 seconds of the end of the movie that happens.
I read an interview or saw an article or something that was like the dancing scene was almost cut from the film, and it's like one of those interviews where I'm like, that is no way, that is not true. Why are you saying that?
Don't you think that like they filmed that because they're like, that's a trailer clip? Like some things they
and
have
they
to film
choreographed a dance. Like what are you talking about?
I mean, a dance that doesn't make any sense in context, right? Like that whole
so
scene is her chasing the CEO of this corporation down with like a paper cutter blade and just starts dancing for no reason.
And I think that's also the comedy though, because she's standing there like she's one of the Shining twins at the end of the hallway, and then she starts doing the TikTok dance. So you're like,
I feel like the actress was just bored on set and they happened to capture it on film and they were like, keep it,
go with it.
Let's do it.
That's fine.
But it is
also real quick, Kevin. Circling back to the TV shows, the reason you hadn't heard of them is because they're foreign.
Okay.
I think he's a New Zealand director, so I think that's
gotcha. Okay, nice.
So this is better than Malignant.
No,
I said it.
It is.
I'll stick with it.
he is accurate.
But it does have this weird sense of humor that I don't think anybody else in my theater got except for me, because there are parts where it's supposed to be funny. I thought it was supposed to be funny.
Or maybe you're like Max Cady in
Also
Problem
true.
Child 2.
Right. Yeah. Or like Ricky from Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
I'm going to go with the movie people have actually seen.
Matt gets that one.
I was just thinking about the Problem Child movies the other day and how I have not seen those in years. Are those on digital? Do you have those, Tom? I need to buy those.
I've never seen a Problem Child movie because they look so dumb, and so I never watched any of them.
I mean, I rented those on VHS as a kid. Those were a staple. So for me, that's a big nostalgia thing.
That is an interesting generational gap. Like it doesn't happen often between me and Kevin, but that is one where I had no interest in those movies whatsoever. None.
Is it okay to call a child repulsive if they're an adult by now?
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Okay, as in I heard what you said, or okay, as in it is okay to do that?
I edit this, so I'll judge. Go ahead.
Okay. I can't watch those movies because that kid's repulsive.
He is terrible in every sense. I totally agree with you.
He's a problem child.
He's great in that role, though, right? You're supposed to hate Junior. Like, he's supposed to be the worst. That's Michael Oliver.
But then in the end, I think you're supposed to go, well, maybe he's just a child.
He was the Melissa McCarthy
child
of his time.
He's horrible. Like, I don't think you're supposed to ever think. I think you're supposed to think, like, Gilbert Gottfried is worse for trying to do whatever he does. But,
I got to tell you, I think I kind of side with Gilbert Gottfried in some of those movies. Like, no. Well, that tracks.
As you get older, that's just like the more and more I watch The Grinch, I'm like, do you see how much noise those Who's are making? Like, those would be awful neighbors.
Yeah, could you guys shut up, please?
Like,
Jeez.
seriously.
It is.
So the Problem Child movies are available on streaming if anybody cares. Interestingly enough, I didn't realize this. It's directed by Adam Sandler's best friend, his go-to director.
Oh, really?
Dennis Dugan. So he directed Grown Ups and Don't Mess with the Zohan and all that stuff.
Batting zeros.
Yeah, you know what? You want to compare houses?
No, I sure don't. That's true.
Yeah.
His bank account is is definitely batting 1,000.
He's a working director.
He also directed Happy Gilmore. And So I mean, I always recognize him. Like, he was gonna be a thing. Like, he was Disney had a movie called The Unidentified Flying Oddball that I saw when it came out in '79, and he was like the wacky star of that movie.
Oh,
He
really?
was gonna be a thing. Yeah.
Wow.
He was the star of the movie?
He was the star of the movie. I used to see him on sitcoms and stuff all the time.
Interesting. You know who you won't see on sitcoms? M3GAN.
Way to bring it back around.
The main character, the lady, what's her name?
Allison Williams.
Pretty sure Megan's the main character.
Megan. That's her. This aunt or whatever.
Her name is Gemma.
Gemma, played by Allison Williams.
Wasn't sure. Is she supposed to not be a very good caregiver to this child?
She's awful. Yeah.
Quite figure it out. Yeah, This movie, I feel like they were like, okay, we gotta tell we want to get on with this. So how can we show that she's not good at taking care of a kid in 3 minutes? And they just make her in. Has she never met this child?
That's kind of how it felt, right? But I guess
Why
the sister.
didn't they? Why
the sister
wasn't
does
it?
say something about that.
Yeah,
like she's.
But why wasn't it just that there is no other family and I've never met her?
But
right.
also,
Why did they even make them have met before? Because you're right. It's like they had zero connection. And Gemma is so self-involved with her work and clearly has no interest in kids and didn't see them very often.
Perhaps never seen a child before.
I know. It was so bizarre. And she's so cold towards her. And obviously the character is written to be this tech person who, her whole house is controlled, this smart house, and she's developing all these
what
robots.
a bitch. A smart house.
But I mean, she's
which is true. I mean, that's what they're trying to say, but it's like,
right,
so
but,
what, man? I have an Alexa.
Welcome to 2023.
I know,
where,
but it's like super techie, involved in like anti-social, more technology centered, and so she doesn't know how to care for this child. But I agree with you, Matt. If they had never met and she had to live with her, it could have been the same scenario.
Because they start the grandparents subplot almost, but it's like, I don't want that.
I was just going to say that. It's like they throw that grandparent subplot in, and then it goes nowhere.
Well, but then
it doesn't go nowhere because that's why the child protective services or therapist lady keeps showing up.
Okay.
So that's what's driving that. And I took that, and I don't know if there was a line of dialogue or it was just my interpretation. I took it as that was the dad's parents.
It was.
It is.
Yeah. So like the dad's parents are like, we want her.
And I think that they're kind of weird, is what she says on the phone.
Oh, really?
I think so. But it seems to me like she would be like, oh, yeah, go live with them. I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why was she so against the dad's parents having her if she has zero interest in seeing her? Other than she promised the sister if anything happened to her, I will look after her. I guess
but
that was
in the beginning when they're coming to the house, her sister died yesterday.
Yeah. It's really quick.
It's so crazy.
I mean, she's still got scars on her face.
I know. And she's worrying about a coaster. Like, wouldn't she be kind of in a like, wow, my sister's dead?
That's what I'm saying. That is why the woman is terrible, because she's just like, oh, I got to make this robot.
Well, I honestly wonder if there's like a deleted scene where they established that her and the sister were estranged. Because I had the same thought. Like, she did not seem to give two squirts of piss about her dead sister.
What was on her calendar when it's like dinner with? Was that
on
the
sister's calendar?
Yeah.
I think she was supposed to have dinner with the sister.
That's what I thought, which seems to show that they were close.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
But then the therapist says, "Were you close with your sister?" And she goes,
Yeah, it's weird.
She says yes, but she doesn't sell it.
Yeah, right.
That's
a very nonchalant. Yeah.
I think this is the problem I have with this movie is that they spend way too much time on focusing on the family dynamic and the loss and the tragedy and all that, when I wanted more of a crazy movie like Malignant. And this movie does not get crazy until the third act.
I like the fact that they focused on that and that it kept the story somewhat grounded. I like the fact that they didn't just go, because if they'd have went your direction, it would have just been a Chucky knockoff.
That's exactly that's very true.
Which is what I thought we were going to get. So I was really pleasantly surprised that they found a way to make another murder doll movie that wasn't just Chucky with a vagina.
This is a Child's Play. You think they gave that thing a vagina?
Oh, I think they absolutely gave that thing a vagina.
Look, if you make a realistic AI doll, I think we know where the real money's at.
Yeah.
This is a children's toy. We are not going into this.
You think the corporate overlords weren't like, hey man, people are going to try to fuck this thing.
How much? That was my first. I can't believe nobody asked the question, and I think it's because it's a PG-13 movie. Because my first thought was like, somebody's going to want to fuck this thing.
The guy is it Ronny Chieng? Is that the guy's name that plays David?
The CEO.
The CEO. He seems like the kind of guy, like the character at least, is the kind of character to be like, there are some alternative
well, like how do we
applications
charge $10,000 for this thing?
Which is it more or less than a Tesla? And they were just like,
I mean, here's your business model. It's $10,000 for the toy. It's $20,000 for a vagina, right? Like
with like interchangeable parts.
So
right.
I just wish there was more of a balance between something like a Chucky movie. I just mean this movie took the first 2 acts to get going, and I was expecting this whole movie, the whole premise of this, the advertising that people know of is there's this murder doll out there, and it takes so long, and then the kills that she does are like so. They're just
PG-13. They're PG-13
I
kills.
sprayed you with a hose and you drowned in this.
That wasn't no. She sprayed her with chemicals.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's the
and it was a
jester
power
now.
washer, wasn't it?
It was.
But
Yes.
I mean, those things are hard. It's
An incredible home. It sprayed her across the room.
Yeah. So that's exactly. So now that was a crazy thing that felt more like a malignant. But so it's like she sprayed her with a hose, okay, and then pushed a kid down a hill, and then they pet cemeteried him.
Hey,
They
so
did,
push
yeah.
him.
Right.
He did it to himself.
There you go.
He did it to
She
himself.
did. I guess I killed Mr. Fantastic's son or something, pulling that ear off.
Oh, that's
yeah.
I got to tell you, that is a crazy scene in this movie because there is nothing else in this movie that is like that.
And they're
then
running on all fours.
I thought that was great.
That's
But
a
when
cr-
when she grabs that kid's ear and just starts pulling on it, and to Matt's point,
That's like something out of a Fairley Brothers movie.
Apparently he's Reed Richards' kid because he has the elastiskin.
It's just a little weird tonally, whereas like Malignant goes all in. And
I will say you're right. Malignant
focuses
knows
on loss and trauma and stuff. Like I feel like this is Akela. What's her name? Akela Cooper she's touching on similar things with these movies, but tonally, Malignant felt more consistent. Even though it's crazy, it seems more consistent. This movie was like more serious, and then there weren't very many exciting kills. But I'm telling you, when they get to that third act, when they get to the show, the reveal, I'm in. Like I had so much fun in the third act, which that saved it for me. So I just wish there was a little bit more, leading up to that.
I do think that there was an R-rated cut, and they trimmed it back to
for
a PG-13.
business. That would make more sense. If they're
sure.
if they have the R-rated cut, if there's more of the crazy kills you're looking for in a killer doll movie, okay,
or a vagina.
and where they introduce an adult version of the doll, and then
Megan,
we can do that. Hey,
Okay,
this is the plot of the Child's Play remake, though, right?
This is kind of. I mean, with the exception of like the losing of the parents,
Right?
But it
very
is
close.
basically the same plot as the remake. I was thinking like this is the remake that the Child's Play wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I was not a huge fan of that remake at all.
Oh no,
it is not good.
Okay, so plot wise, this movie, Gemma's making Megan in the lab, and they can't get it to work right. And the girl, her niece, comes to stay with her, and in order to bond after not spending any time together, she's like, "Oh, hey, you want to see this other Bob that I made in college?" And it's this huge Rock'em Sock'em robot, like we were talking about, real steel. And this is what I don't get. Please explain to me in the plot of this movie. Something clicks here. So Bob is a hand-controlled real steel robot, and then Megan is this doll with the computer and the AI and everything that she eventually becomes anyway. And she's like, "Oh my God, light bulb!" After looking at Bob, and then Megan works like a not Bob robot. Like, please tell me.
It is a funny moment where she's playing with Bob and they're
Yeah,
she's playing with the rope. Nope.
She's
Anyway.
controlling Bob like the real steel robot and pretending to interact. I guess she clicks the idea that, kids will like to interact with it. But like, I just didn't get the I couldn't draw the line.
There's a big jump.
It's already what Megan does.
That's right. Megan is the Megan doll that we see. What did Bob
It's not like
have to
she got the idea to make the Megan doll from that.
I agree. I had the same
stupid.
struggle. I was just like, I don't understand.
She was making Megan and it exploded because a guy put a thing in it
And don't worry, that won't
No,
come
he didn't
back.
put he didn't put the thing
Well,
in
right. He didn't put the
If you
limit
were
or whatever in
thinking,
it.
they're going to pull the thing out at the end and blow
Right.
her head up. No.
So Megan fails.
You're okay to forget about that.
We better stop working on this project, which, by the way, Megan exploded, and they didn't make a ton of these, remember, because she spent $100,000 of company money on a secret project the company didn't ask for.
How does that even happen? That's not a thing that can happen.
Yeah. First of all, how does that happen? Second of all, it exploded. Then she goes home and sees Bob, which somehow brings a light bulb because of what Megan already does. And then there's another Megan in another face they just ordered and showed up that exploded. Now, why? Why did they do any of that?
First off, I think the robot was called Bruce.
Oh, Bruce.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because battery-operated boyfriend was getting real old.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a valid point. Is that the leap for her to be, working with Bruce, and then all of a sudden the light bulb to be like, oh.
I'll just tell you right now, we're working on Megan. We just can't get it to work, maybe because they're not playing with a real child. The niece comes to stay with her. Wait a minute. Let's try it with her. She bonds with it. Boom, we have Megan.
And she's off to the races.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
I'm getting in the weeds.
Yeah. So,
Well, I guess why didn't she worked overnight, let's say 5 hours or something.
Give or take.
Was she just putting that off? Like, if she could just sit down and finish it up.
Oh, well, no, wasn't she? She was trying to make the cheaper version of the Furby. That's what she was trying to do.
Yeah, but
that
after,
I thought was funny that they had knockout Furbies.
Yeah.
The kid says, "This would be a cool toy," and she goes like, "Oh, you're right."
Oh,
she gets back on the computer and she's like, little montage of
Like tick 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 tick
type,
tick.
type,
Oh,
type, type.
fixed
And
it.
now I finished it.
Oh, and then she's okay. And get this. So remember, her boss is like about to fire her after she's embezzled $100,000 to
Correct.
work on
Yeah,
her
right,
project, and then says, "You better get this project." Light bulb, Bruce. Oh, sorry, we're gonna have to put off this presentation.
Oh, I
What?
could just
That's
email
not
her.
an option.
I could just say, "Nah, I'm not gonna do
The
it."
guy's about to fire her and just found out she stole money, and then she literally has this idea and just tells him no.
And then they
did
trick
nothing
him.
wrong.
Then they trick him into the whole they're going to
Right.
put on this
But
presentation.
they can't delay it. The guy, there's no option to delay it, and then she says we have to delay it. It's
And
just,
yeah,
And
he's
he's like, okay.
He's
a
supposed to
writing-
be like her jerk boss, but he's totally warranted in all of his.
and he has
Yeah,
no
it's-
authority.
yeah.
Like he just doesn't ever punish her. Like you can't do that. Like I
I
don't know.
do like there's a scene where he's trying to get into her lab, and even his key card's not working. I think this scene is very funny where he just keeps trying the card, and he's like, it won't work, and then she has to let him in. But it's like, you're the CEO of this company. How does you should have.
You should have a master key.
Yeah, a master key.
Yeah, I
right,
think
right.
the writing leading again, the writing's a little messy leading up to where the doll starts a killing, and so I think that's the biggest detriment to the story. Is all this stuff is just kind of like whatever, come on. And I think most people are probably like me, like get to the killer doll. That's kind of what we're here for.
I don't disagree with you. I think for me at least, it was I've seen the killer doll. Like once you get to Bride of Chucky, brother, there's not much left that you're going to show me that I haven't seen. If it's Method Man spilling his guts all over a chair, I'm good. So
Two
like
dolls have sex, have a
That's right.
trans child doll baby.
then maybe
There's-
we'll have something to talk about.
They do that. That happens.
You're right. That is a crazy part of that movie.
And there's not. Yeah, you're right. There's not really anywhere else to go.
So I think watching Katie try to, when Gemma starts to take away Megan because she realizes that something is kind of wrong, and the therapist is talking about how usually after a tragedy, right, like the child that survives the tragedy starts to bond with the first thing or person that technically it should normally a person, but in this case,
right.
Gemma is so emotionally unavailable that Katie starts to bond with Megan. And so I do kind of find that interesting.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, this is a total commentary on technology, and for all the Gen Z people they're marketing, this is you being on your phone and TikTok and social media, and you're not interacting with other humans. This is Gemma so wrapped up in her technology she can't have a relationship with her own niece who has just had this tragedy, and her sister is dead, and now we have the niece, a young impressionable child who, remember, her parents limited screen time. Katie didn't have the interaction with screen time. Then all of a sudden she gets unlimited screen time from her aunt and 24/7 access to technology with M3GAN, and she becomes so attached to it that she starts lashing out. She punches her. She slaps.
She
Gemma.
takes a shot at Gemma, which I was like, oh dang.
And she was she's dealing with some stuff, but she was a perfectly nice little girl before.
I don't know about that. She was pretty snotty in that car and in her opening scene before the car crash. She
Did she say something?
She just her general dude.
I mean, the fact that she picked up the thing when
they told her to turn it down,
off.
and she's like, "I did turn it down," and she hadn't turned it down.
So,
I've had this conversation.
I was going to say, I think I had this conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
But she hit Gemma. I just mean that she didn't.
She certainly ramps up, but they didn't take a Laura Ingalls Wilder and turn her into some crazy kid, I think she was already headed down that road.
Okay, maybe she was snotty, but the point is that withdrawing from the technology, she's yelling at people and she's throwing things. I mean, she is lashing out and she actually hits her aunt. That is a step where, I mean, no matter how bratty your kid is, you don't usually hit the parent. So,
but I will say though, when Gemma finally, she's got to get this kid back into school, and apparently the mom homeschooled her, which is always a red flag. No offense to anybody that was homeschooled.
Well, it is offensive, so
it was, but all right. She takes her to the alternative school, and I find the interaction between the mom and Gemma working the sandwich table, I thought was hilarious. Where the mom's like, "Oh, maybe he's just oh my god!" I was like, "Oh god, your kid's an asshole." I know all kinds of parents who are like that.
The teacher at this school is the hidden treasure. I thought the teacher was great.
Her face was hilarious staring at M3GAN. She was back there what my guess is, I mean, I don't know if M3GAN was really in the car or if she had to pretend or what, but I'm like, she is going all in on that stare in the backseat.
Well, that's an interesting. I was going to actually ask that question. So there is an actress who's listed as there's the voice of M3GAN, which is Jenna Davis, and then Amy Donald played the body of M3GAN, I guess. But
it's a real little girl, and they just, I guess, CG'd the face.
That's what I was going to ask. Was she wearing a mask, or was that actually just CG'd her face?
It looks pretty close to the head. I saw some behind the scenes pictures, and then they just CG all the
weird stuff, the non-human
stuff. It's
stuff,
a filter. It looks like an Instagram filter, right? That's what people...
If that's the case, that's even more subversive. It's supposed to be an Instagram filter.
Well, I wish there was a part where Gemma goes, she's just not quite scary enough. Can we make her face look a little scarier?
That's always the thing with killer doll movies, though, right? No one really wants Chucky.
I know, but I will also say, in fairness, how many creepy dolls have you seen in real life? There's a lot of them.
I will also say about Chucky is, I mean, he is eerily reminiscent of My Buddy.
Yeah, for sure. That's what he was based on.
Right.
And I feel like there were so many My Buddy dolls that were around anyway that, I had a Teddy Ruxpin, which in retrospect is terrifying.
Then they go, okay, we're making this. It's a doll. It's supposed to interact with modern kids, so we'll just put her in a cool T-shirt. No. We're
gonna make her look like Esther from the Orphan.
Right.
It's and maybe this is supposed to be part of the thing, but I think it's funny how M3GAN's in this fancy black pea coat. And then she's got
to dress her out in the car. Yeah, they have to take her in the fancy coat. Yeah.
They got niece and some Goodwill find or something.
Kevin, can you turn on screen sharing for me?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, this is gonna be crazy.
I would argue Chucky looks more normal than a My Buddy doll.
I think that's fair.
I mean, more childlike, more realistic for sure. But there's a cartoonish quality to the My Buddy.
I would rather
play with
when you look at Chucky like without a knife in his hand,
That's
which is
true.
true of all children. When you look at Chucky without being like having the crazy "I'm about to kill you" face,
That's true. Because I'm
the
thinking
doll
of him as Chucky. Like I can't
Yeah.
get that. Yeah.
But if you look at the picture of how he looked in the box, he does not look. I mean, it clearly doesn't look like the same doll, but in terms of
It's pretty
creepiness,
close.
Yeah.
he doesn't look appreciably different. And I remember when
That's
the movie
true.
came out, my first thought was like, oh, this is a parody of My Buddy. Like that was
Right.
just a
Right,
given,
right.
You know?
Sure. Yeah.
I do like that the title of that article is pretty hilarious. The downfall of my buddy thanks to a good guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That is fine.
So-
And is that? Am I right that that's not true? That Child's Play was being written before My Buddy? Am I making things up? Am I being that guy? Am I being the article?
That's what the producers would like you to believe.
Okay.
That sounds like a spin to me.
I'm trying to
but-
think. So my buddies were coming out like that. I remember seeing those ads when I was a kid, like a little kid. It was My Buddy and Kid Sister were the two like big doll, or you can get a WWF wrestling buddy. I had the Ultimate Warrior. Thank you very much. Megan and Katie have developed this. Well, I guess Katie has developed this pretty intense bond with Megan.
And so
And-
Megan activates Katie as the primary user, Gemma is the secondary user, and they follow protocols like to protect. So it's very
Like
eerie.
RoboCop.
Yeah, it's very eerie the way that Megan
Or
is like,
Isaac Asimov, I think is really
Like
what
I guess that's fair.
RoboCop.
Yeah.
But
I'm
Megan's
totally
like,
wrong.
I will-
I'm totally wrong. Child's
I
Play
will-
came out 3 years later. What am I talking about?
There you go. I will always protect you. I will not let anyone harm you. And so clearly it's getting into that creepy possessive type territory
Yeah,
werewolf.
for
And he-
someone so obsessed with technology, it is weird that they never watched any science fiction movies
Right.
ever.
We're in 2023. We're not referencing Terminator, RoboCop, anything else that
maybe we should put in some
we're-
protection protocols. I mean,
Do you think that maybe the AI would misinterpret that? No, I don't think so. Why?
no, just protect. Yeah, like she got a boo-boo, put a Band-Aid on it. Of
Right.
course, that's what they'll do.
Yeah,
But-
it'll be
but-
just like Big Hero 6. It'll be great.
So they can't get the knockoff Furbies out there. So we should just say like the boss, they trick him into that presentation and he
Right.
sees Megan and he's like, this is it. This is what we're going to present to the shareholders and everything. Make sure this thing works perfect and make sure I know what to talk about in the big presentation. So like, meanwhile, Katie and Megan are bonding. Gemma is working on stuff. Her two lab mates are like, this is a little like, is this ready? This isn't right. Like,
Oh, we're going with it. We're rolling with it.
and they also start to notice like, you're not spending any time with your niece. Do you think it's like appropriate that the doll is taking all of your parental time away from her?
It's hard. It's hard to root for Allison or Gemma, even when she has her character turn. It's still just like you're kind of a bitch. Like you've got this child.
well, the way she talks to the neighbor. I mean, she's set up as not.
Well, the neighbor does kind of suck, but
But not initially.
Not in the beginning. I mean,
That's
okay,
true.
the
That's
dog
true.
came over. That sucks, right? But like, you're getting water. Keep your water. They wrote her. You're supposed to know she's again antisocial. She's
Right.
obsessed with technology, which obviously doesn't automatically make you bad. But this character is like so antisocial, is rude to people, doesn't want
Sure.
any interaction, and so yeah, that interaction with the neighbor is very rude and abrasive.
when the neighbor goes, "Hey, you want to borrow this later?" and she was like, "No," and I was like, "Well,"
And she's also like, no, I don't want all your chemicals, whatever, you
Yeah.
know. And so,
yeah. So as the story progresses,
they
I'm
go
trying
to
to
the outside school. Is the
but why
Cool.
does no? It's the dog
Look
first.
at the dog first.
oh, the dog
why-
is the first kill.
Yeah,
which-
so Katie is shooting a bow and arrow, and an arrow kind of goes into the neighbor's yard through this hole in the fence. Katie, or I guess not Gemma.
Megan is
Megan
RoboCop,
sees
is
it.
Terminator
Yeah, she RoboCopped
assessing
it,
everything.
and she finds it and reaches under there, and of course the dog attacks Megan, and Katie kind of goes after, and the dog ends up biting Katie.
You know, maybe this should have been a plot point. Did you think that maybe the dog broke like an inhibitor?
Yes.
That's
chip?
what I thought.
They don't ever
They
address
definitely
it. They never
reference like
set it
because there's
up.
a spark,
A
right?
spark.
Like
And then
yes.
you're either to think, well, Megan's broken now and has to be fixed,
Right.
or the dog deactivated
It's
whatever
the,
the safety.
it's the inhibitor chip from Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
I
reason
wonder
it's
if
the
they're
reason the
laying
arms-
the groundwork for sequels, right? Because
Oh.
there's another major plot point that never
well, the
gets
smart
circled.
home thing. Megan's downloaded into the smart home.
But that's
there's also another major plot point, which is that guy, the CEO's assistant, steals all the files and sends them to somebody. And I even stayed to the end credits, which I never do, because I was like, are they going to set up like what company he gave those to? Because so theoretically, not only is Megan in the AI of the home, was it Elsie? But but Megan's files are also in the hands of some third party that we don't know.
You know who it is? I know it is. Dodgson.
Hasbro.
No, Dodgson.
Dodson. We've got Dodson. We've got Dodson here.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Nobody
Jurassic Park. See, nobody cares. Clearly, he did the same thing that Nedry did.
They forgot about him too.
No one cares about him.
Yeah, but I don't care about the plot of Jurassic Park. It's just watch dinosaurs chew on stuff.
That's right. That's right. That is true though, Tom. There's the plot point of the grandparents that never comes back into play, with the exception of the therapist, and then Kevin, who was downloading, they say that this other company has kind of beaten them to the punch.
I thought his name was Greg.
Oh, I thought it was Kevin. Maybe he was sending them to Kevin.
You just assumed it was Kevin because he's kind of a weasel.
Ineffectual
and I know how much he loves the movie Hackers, so I just assumed
now
it was all
100% true.
So we find out that what's happening is the reason this other company has been able to manufacture a cheaper Furby, that's what I'm calling it because that's what this thing is because the head guy's assistant has been sending them info, sending them schematics, and he does end up stealing the schematics for Megan and does transfer it to someone else. So to your point, Tom, I think you're right, is now we've got, not only is Megan downloaded herself into Elsie, but we know that the files to Megan are somewhere else out there.
Someone could be manufacturing the off-brand Megan, which becomes
a new.
That's how she gets her body back.
The new one is M3GAN.
Yes.
M3GAN. That's what we're looking for. Yeah,
but that's perfect though. The AI she's downloaded into, and she needs to get her body, and so she works through the technology to go into the new dolls.
See, it is a Child's Play movie. Yeah. That is kind of the whole premise of Child's Play, is Chucky is trying to put his soul into poor Andy Bartlett for 3 movies.
Yeah.
And he can't get it done. Yeah, so now
Megan kills
the dog.
Because the dog is a harm to Katie, it could attack her.
You're right.
I think it's all in defense of Katie, right? That's what all the killing is
absolutely
in the name of.
Hey, but
Kevin's going a long way to defend killing dogs. That's.
Oh no, I think it's fine. They did it in 2023 now. I can't believe they did it with how much people hate that in any type of movie. I get that the bad guy, but it doesn't matter. I guess even in John Wick, the bad guy does it. I can't believe they did it in this day and age. Honestly, that seems like a taboo. You don't.
But you don't see it.
I know, but you don't see. I mean, I guess you see the dog hurt in John Wick, but I mean, you don't really
you see a blood trail of a puppy dragging himself to his owner's unconscious body. In this one, you're just like, all right, well, there's a sound.
It's off screen, but and I'm sure that was a conscious choice for them. But I don't know. To me, it was just surprising they actually did it.
Sure.
Just knowing the backlash you get, because there's whole websites now dedicated, I think, to does the dog die and stuff.
Oh, really?
That. Yeah.
Is it just the dog, or man, that bird died? That sucked.
They do other stuff.
They just focus on the cute ones.
I did think maybe she didn't kill the dog, she was going to have it, which to me
she was going to ride it into battle,
right? Or I don't know, just did something to it, which I thought maybe would have been a good, because you kind of have Megan go from 0 to 100, right? She's already killing immediately.
Yeah, right.
And it kind of does seem like, maybe if she just chained the dog up, so I don't know what she would have done, but
yeah,
it would have sort of brought you back into it.
Matt's I think it would have been better if she had just merely tortured the
animal. Most of the movie would have been that. The rest of it just would have been. I think that would have been cool.
They're just having fun with it.
But it's just that thing. I feel like they do that in movies, and it's kind of it's a good thing. Where you go, oh my gosh, she did it. She killed something, and then they sort of pull it back to where you're sense of security again. So,
so I guess
because once
the deal
that
is,
happens, it's like, oh, you're there already.
Well, so M3GAN is an AI, and this is also obviously the dangers of AI, which people have been talking about for years now. Not just Skynet, but like very real life AI. Like right now, I don't know if you guys have read any of the articles, but there is AI now that the people who developed the AI don't even know why it's doing what it's doing.
That sounds awful.
AI has that doesn't sound like every sci-fi movie from the 80s.
Sure.
I'm
So we don't know
ready.
what it's doing. It's too advanced.
It doesn't know. AI is so advanced now that it teaches itself things that people that made it don't even know how to do or why it's doing it.
We're all going to die. All right.
So this is the danger of AI. But once M3GAN, she's connected to the internet and she's doing research nonstop and tapping into all these things she's learning. It starts off as use a coaster, which Gemma has clearly programmed as a nice little wink. But then it's like more protection and why things do what they do. And so M3GAN's evolved now into this defensive, they have a talk about death, right? Like, how are you going to deal with death? And I want to cope. I want Katie to cope with the loss of her parents, so she's reading up. But she gets too fixated on death and killing, and that's when she goes off the rails. And I guess she can't pull it back because now M3GAN has learned too much to where now her primary focus has changed.
But there is another weird moment. So everything goes down, and Gemma basically figures out that M3GAN is bad news.
The outdoor school. So after the dog, she goes to outdoor school, right. And then she starts chasing the like you said, the mom, my sweet little kid,
the jerk kid,
and he gives the PG-13 F word.
So okay, to Tom's point, he was gonna fuck that doll, right?
Well, when he took off the shoe,
looked like it.
When he took off the shoe, it first looked like that, but then he just started hitting it. So I don't.
Hey, man,
I think that was reshoots.
Oh, that was PG-13. Okay,
because there was even a shot
where
he
moment
was on top of her,
right?
Yeah.
And then he smacks her. Yeah.
I think that's quote, not what was happening, but you are intended to take that vibe.
Oh, sure.
But there is no reason whatsoever he would take the shoe off randomly. You're 100% right. There is a rated R version. He takes the shoe off, so that. It made no sense.
If the censors asked the filmmakers, they would go, "What?
Yeah,
what is wrong with you?
This is a weird shoe."
I'm sorry, MPAA, but you're the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're thinking that, you're the one.
Totally. Yeah. No,
this says more about you, Jack Valenti, than it does about us, who I think has been dead for 10 years.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think he's in charge of that anymore, but all right.
Yeah.
We'll
so he's going to do whatever.
Remember when the right wing went crazy about The Revenant because they were convinced that the bear was raping Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes,
and
I do.
Not just killing Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, and now in a couple months we're gonna have a movie called Cocaine Bear.
Right.
It's a bear that gets high off cocaine and just starts murdering people.
There are some in that crew that really like cocaine.
I think there's more than some. I think there's all.
Maybe we're not so different.
So
it's good to find common ground.
So M3GAN shows up all creepy, and he's like, no. The little girl shows up, right, and sees what are you doing?
No. M3GAN's off in the distance, and she
he pushes
she grabs his while he's on top of her. She grabs his ear.
I'm so sorry. The guy is picking on Katie, and M3GAN shows up real creepy, and then you think maybe she's gonna kill him, but no, he grabs her, runs off with her, then does all the creepy stuff, and then she stops him. Yeah, pulls his ear
off.
Does the Stretch Armstrong?
Why do they make these things so strong?
Right. Why would a little girl learning doll even be able to do
what is the grip
There's
string?
no reason to punch through a brick wall. There's no need for that.
I 100% agree and was thinking during this, why did the mechanics do that?
Why do we make him out of titanium when I can't even break the exoskeleton?
She's bulletproof, remember? She sang
she definitely sang that song.
Yeah.
It is funny too, and I understand this is a very Ant-Man thing. The kid can pick her up and run with her just fine, but then other times,
wouldn't she be heavy as shit?
Well, not. Is it titanium? Is the light one? Light, but
I don't know. It's just
tungsten,
that other times people are fighting her, and it's well, you should just be able to knock a shelf. I mean, she's very light. Sometimes I don't know.
Well, that's always the trouble with the killer doll things, though, right? The toys that come to life and all that. Is it's if you can get to it, it's little. It's not strong. It's
right.
If I lose my life to Chucky, I quit.
Yeah. Like,
Hey,
feel
I
like
got
I could-
another. I'm sorry. This one's dumb. I get that it's a joke, so it like doesn't matter. But I thought it was really interesting that it's the commercial for M3GAN or whatever, and they're like, she'll tell your kid to flush the toilet, and then they go, and she'll never lose patience, and then they have her go, seriously, Katie.
why does the little girl pee with the door wide open all the time?
She's a monster.
I don't know, but Matt, that was one of the moments that I laughed out loud and nobody else laughed in the theater. And I was like, this is crazy, because that is a hilarious scene where they say she'll never lose patience. And then as soon as she walks out of the bathroom, M3GAN is just like stone face. And she's like, seriously?
Clearly losing patience.
Yeah.
Clearly. Yes. Right.
I just thought it was weird that the door was wide open. Why is the little girl going to the bathroom twice in 2 different scenes with the door wide open so M3GAN could be standing there watching her?
Also weird.
It's just weird. That's a weird thing.
That's fair.
So the camera can see it happening, but like I don't. Yeah.
Real quick, titanium is lightweight.
There it is. See?
But it's also not very strong. So it sounds like it would be strong, but it's not strong. And they say that it is typically blended with other metals to make it strong.
Oh, it's an amalgam.
Okay.
And that is from energy.gov.
Wait a minute,
We all
hold
know
on.
the government would never lie to us.
Hold on. There was a whole poem written about this. Bulletproof.
Nope.
Nothing to lose. Titanium. Bulletproof. Titanium. It's supposed to be really strong and bulletproof.
Yeah.
But apparently not.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
that gal doesn't know what the fuck she's singing about. She chases the kid. The kid falls down a hill, and then
Pet cemetery.
like Kevin said, they pet cemetery where he gets hit by a truck. There is a moment
Nothing
where
but
I was
the
like,
shoe left on the road.
where the truck is coming. I was like, oh, well, it's gonna stop. Oh, nope, it's not stopping. It does not stop.
Oh, also, did anyone else find it weird for a snowplow death to be the catalyst of this whole film?
I thought the weirder thing tying into current events is the post-credit scene is where it takes her 15 ballots to get elected Speaker of the House.
But
can't get
that
it.
could be a coincidence. You think James Wan is trying to take down the MCU so the Gabriel verse can soar?
I think they started working on this movie before that, though, like My Buddy.
James Wan is a
That's
DC
actually
guy.
not true, Tom. That's actually a misconception.
I heard it on a very reputable podcast, so I'm going to have to disagree.
Okay.
So all this stuff goes down. They're working on M3GAN. It's all leading up to this meeting.
They do the meeting, and then it gets the big approval because Katie breaks down in this meeting, and it's also just like, God, you are prophetizing on this whole. Is that a word? Prophetizing? Profiteering on this whole child's whose parents died a week ago.
I know, it's crazy.
Baby.
Two months is the longest. At some point, they say 2 months ago.
Well,
do they?
Well, you know it's horrible.
That's
because
because
still
the scars
well
are
within the
off her
window.
face. So
That's
like,
okay.
face is-
Okay.
But here's
that's
the
fair,
deal,
that's fair.
though. But like Katie gets attacked by that dog, and then she has a fever, and then Gemma's like, well, we got that presentation. Like, clearly you're not supposed to
Right.
be on Gemma's side. You're like, she's an awful parent.
No,
an
sure,
awful
sure.
guardian.
Oh, that was another example too of this movie just sort of like condensing everything. She gets bit by a dog and then has a fever immediately.
Yeah.
And I guess
there's
at some
no
point
time
you just
to
gotta go.
incubate.
Okay,
Right.
I guess I don't want to watch 2 more days happen before she gets the fever.
Right,
so
right.
Sure.
So everything is going fine not fine because M3GAN just killed 2 people.
Well, it's leading up to the big
she
reveal.
she
the
ends up killing
announcement.
Celia. Celia
The
is
neighbor,
the woman
yeah.
whose dog it was, and then she sprays her with the chemicals. Again, a death that's off screen, but it's just like, okay, so we got buckets of blood running into the drain. Got it.
I figured those were chemicals. I didn't think it was blood.
Oh, I thought it was blood.
I think those were the poison that she was like face down in the
I couldn't
poison
tell.
drowning.
Sure,
in it.
sure, sure.
I did think if it cut back, we would have seen her face like melting.
Yes, that's exactly
From the
right.
poison or something,
That's
or
what I
like acid or
wanted.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're running with this launch. They have another sit down with the therapist, and this is where Gemma, I guess, finally decides to be a normal person with feelings.
Well,
And-
but you got to remember too that Gemma has started to be suspicious because weird things are going down. The neighbors reported dead. The police come about the dog incident, and then the
I
dog's
love
missing.
both those cops are chef's kiss.
Yeah, that cop was great coming to the door. He was really good.
But I also like the detective.
Detective. Such a character for one scene.
Oh,
that guy had about
interviewed you twice in the past week.
He's like, she's like, are you? But that other kid was an accident. He's like, yeah, we found a chunk of his ear over in the thing, so we're gonna rule it as a homicide.
Weird, huh?
Chomping away.
Yeah.
That guy's like, I got 2 minutes to make an impression. I better do it.
There are no small parts.
That's right.
Only
that's
small
right.
actors.
Exactly.
That's right. And
So
he was no small actor.
So then the neighbor's dead. So clearly Gemma's starting to think something's weird here. And then so she actually tries to access the security footage. Like Megan's supposed to, they can go back and review everything that she's seen and then uploads to the cloud.
And again, this was a part where I'm like, you never did this?
You never did before?
You're not doing this
I also feel like this was a
constantly?
moment.
Yeah, aren't you doing research? Like
sort of topical. Did you ever see that clip of Chris D'Elia when they drop the bomb that sometimes Snapchats can be recorded, and he's like, "What? What do you mean?"
Yeah, he's
They're
like on a podcast.
You can screenshot it, and you can see the look, like the color drain from his face when they figure that it's a bonkers clip. If you don't know anything about Chris D'Elia, just Google it. It'll tell
I'm
you
sure
everything
that
you
will
need to
never
know.
come around to bite him. And
No, well, it did. So it is funny that there's a moment where they're going back and they're like, "You're just now thinking to go look at Megan's backup footage when you could have, like, when this kid died, when Megan was right there, or the dog disappears," and you're like,
Right, exactly. But so she's blocked it. She's not backing up to the cloud anymore. And then
I mean, I'm sorry, Kev. Why wouldn't she have said to the cops, the doll was there. It records everything. If you guys want to take a look at it.
It's a dash cam. Like, yeah.
I mean, at that point, she wouldn't have thought anything bad, or maybe she did. But
this is
okay.
the right.
In defense, she doesn't want anyone in public to see the doll because she's
That's
got
true.
like she was trying to keep it under wraps at the outdoor school.
But when people are
He was a
dying,
brat,
though,
though.
like, and she's already suspicious, like things are a little weird. Like, she should look at the footage. She should look at it.
well, she does.
Kevin, my response to that: corporate America.
Which is
Wow.
on display here.
There you go.
They go. They're gonna start this launch. They're gonna have this big launch. They're rolling out with Megan. Katie and the therapist have another session, and this is supposed to be the character turn where Gemma finally sits down. This is the scene that you were talking about, Kevin, where Katie smacks Gemma across the face, and even Katie at that moment was like, "Whoa."
picks up a pair of scissors.
She does pick up
I
a pair of
guess
scissors.
kill
Like,
the therapist.
But the reason why she's so frustrated is now Gemma has saran wrapped Megan. Like she had this confrontation with her about the recordings and everything, and she took her away, and she's like, we got to launch this thing, and like it's not safe to be around you. And so Katie's basically going through withdrawal, and she's so frustrated at that she lashes out, and then after she does it, she like apologizes. I'm so sorry, I just need to see her for a few minutes. Like she's doing that withdrawal.
It's like it's a drug. It's
thing,
it's very much like a person like
Which-
I can do one. I can do just one.
Which is
and I'll be
technology,
fine.
right? Which people talk about addiction, right? It's not just the substances, it's technology and how society has such an addiction with it. And if you take it away, like you feel like you need it, can I just look at it? So clearly a commentary on that. And what the whole movie is with her becoming more and more obsessed with Megan. So anyway, but that's the reason for the lash out is she took her away.
Right. And then so they decide, Gemma finally decides to basically bail on the project on the launch. She takes Katie home.
Katie
during
Holmes.
this. Katie
She was in this movie.
I mean, she
Maggie
probably
Gyllenhaal.
might need the work. I don't know. Megan has
Doesn't
now
tell her boss
interfaced.
again. Just
Well,
takes off.
Oh, yeah. He's just
Chains
running
up
around.
Megan, leaves. Ooh, give him
Won't
a
answer
heads
the
up.
phone. The two people who were, I think it's Tess and Cole, who are the two like buddies or coworkers, I guess. They leave Megan attached to the Wi-Fi, I guess, in the lab, and Megan.
She's
plugged
breaks-
in.
Okay, that's right. She's plugged in, and
They got her
Megan
plugged in to work on her before the big launch, and then this is when Gemma says, "Pull the plug! Like this is dangerous." And her assistant or whatever's like, "Thank God, finally!" She's been trying to tell her the whole time this isn't ready.
and they can't. So in a scene, again, a very PG-13 scene where Megan breaks free and she does not kill either. Well, we don't think she does, but then she pokes a hole in like a flammable gas.
Well, she hangs
propane
the guy
tank.
first.
Yeah, but
She
they
takes
cut
the
him
cord.
down, right? They
Right.
cut him down.
She hangs him, but yeah, she saws the wire off and
Right.
is able to get him down. But yeah, the place explodes when she.
But it doesn't
Kinda.
explode.
I mean, it
like
doesn't even
if you watch that, that's a very contained explosion that doesn't come anywhere near.
No, they're safe. Like it explodes, but like it's just like a puff of like.
I think it's supposed to knock him out, but it doesn't even look like it would do that.
Whereas
It's
I
crazy.
feel like we're supposed to be led to believe that they're dead, and then when they show up at the end, you're like, they're alive.
I
That's
don't think
the
so.
callback.
If you're watching the scene, it clearly they don't get touched by that
but
explosion.
the way
No,
they pull
it's not
up,
at
I think
all.
it's crazy in this movie that nobody good dies. Like none of the heroes are.
Oh,
or,
sure,
you
sure,
know
sure.
what I mean? Like
you would
that
think that
dog
like
was a hero,
Gemma's the one that needs to die, right? Like she has the character turn. She would be the one that would. Granted, that would leave Katie alone
I could
again
see
to
her
go live with
getting out.
her weird grandparents.
I think you kill the lab assistants.
Oh,
Right.
sure,
For,
sure.
They're
for,
the
for an
innocent
emotional,
ones in
like,
this.
oh, the
Yeah.
stakes are, but they don't do it.
Who do they
Because
kill in Child's Play? Oh, it's the
The-
baby's. It's the mom's best friend.
in the yeah.
They throw her
yeah.
out the window. That's right.
But you're right, though. Like, for all of Gemma's trying to keep doing this, even though she knows it's dangerous and all the trouble she got the innocents into, she should have to deal with some blood on her hands
Yes.
of the friends. But you're right. It never
I
really
mean, she
happens.
does kind of, right? Like everybody that does
Oh.
die in this movie is because of Gemma.
She's going to prison.
Right. Well,
Without a
learn
doubt.
anything from movies. I mean, she's the rock and rampage. I always go back to. It's like,
I don't think she is though. I feel like they're
what?
just the only reason I'm saying
the
that,
Rock and Rampage is clearly supposed to be the hero we root for. I don't know that we're supposed to hate Gemma, but I don't think we're supposed to think that she's the hero either.
but I feel like they do set up the boss and Kurt. That guy's name is Kurt. As like
Okay,
the
not
Fall
Kevin, though.
Guys,
Not Greg
Kevin,
or
not
Kevin.
Kevin. No, not neither one of those.
Maybe.
It's- M3GAN gets free in the complex. She ends up doing the weird dance that has been all over the internet.
Yes.
Breaks
So cool.
off a paper cutter, which I don't even think I would in an office like this. I don't feel like this paper cutter would be there
In a
I feel like
hallway.
in a
with
hallway
printer,
office
just
next to a copier. I don't think that this
Oh,
old school paper cutter would be there.
if it's
But
gonna
she-
be anywhere, it would be. Next
I guess
to a
that's
copier.
true.
I mean,
that's
that is
fair. M3GAN ends up killing David. She chops him up stabs him in the back, and then the elevator opens up and Kurt is there, and M3GAN lays it all out. She basically knows
That's a
everything.
great
that,
sequence when the assistant is like, "Hey, I want you to act so surprised. Get off your phones. You need to be excited." And they look over the elevator,
and
it
there's two
opens,
dead bodies.
and they're surprised.
Yeah,
that is
right.
a really good scene. Everything that goes down at this part, I thought was fun, and I was into it. I'm like, "Yeah, this is the movie."
But
So,
the
yeah,
bummer being right that you wanted, and for like you wanted a bloodbath. She kills two people.
And that's
Well,
the only
kind of
blood
a
you get in this
bummer.
movie too,
But I mean,
and it's minimal.
I think that there's a rated R version of this that could even be more
Yeah.
fun. But if more of the movie was like M3GAN going crazy at the presentation, I think that, like, because even when she's with the lab assistants, I know they make it out, but like there is a rated R version of that. There's a version where, in my head, right, like where
Sure,
the
sure,
one
sure.
guy, she hangs him and he dies, and the other girl gets exploded or caught
Gets
on
blown
fire
out.
or something. And there's a lot of excitement as far as a horror movie with these kills.
I feel like there is a version where they're really dead because
Yeah.
when Matt was talking earlier about how he wished they had done the thing with the dog where you think they're dead and then they walk it back, I feel like they
Yeah.
do that with the two assistants
Yeah.
because they show up at the house with the cop car because the cops would bring them to the house. Like,
The guy was just hung. He should be seeking medical treatment.
Well, he
He's
gets
got
out with
oxygen.
an
He has an
oxygen mask.
Right. They don't drive him to the someone else's house. He'd be at the hospital.
Right.
That
And I bet
doesn't
you're right.
make-
I bet if you watch how it's shot, that's a separate. Like,
Yeah.
are they in a scene? I mean, it could be a reshoot, but whatever. But yeah, you're right. You want a version where she pulls that cable so hard his head pops off.
Right. That's the movie you think you're watching. And again, I think that's the rated R version that we're thinking of here.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So M3GAN gets back to Gemma's house. There's a pretty contained fight sequence between everybody.
It sounds like you're fighting.
Oh my god! Yeah,
Oh,
go back to
what?
bed, Katie.
That whole part. Okay. This was horrible. That was.
I did not.
absolutely
I agree. I did not
ridiculous.
like that part where she's
And
like, "Can I just come out and see her?" No,
And is her-
I don't want
is
you to
her
see me
room-
like this.
Is her room soundproof? Because
Yeah,
once
right.
she closes the door, they instantly start destroying things. I
Yeah,
think maybe
right.
Oh,
Katie
yeah.
should check on them again just to be safe.
Just to be safe.
It's so stupid.
And
That
it's
was
not like
so
they're
dumb.
yelling when they're saying, "Oh, just go back to bed," and she closes the door, and then they go,
and they start.
All right, Gemma, here's the deal.
Right. It's like, oh my god,
I can't hear that.
So they end up getting into Gemma's workshop. M3GAN kind of has Gemma dead to rights. All of a sudden, M3GAN gets cracked by Bruce.
What happens to make M3GAN go crazy?
So here's the thing: M3GAN has another line here where she says, like, it was you talking to Gemma. It was you and me. You were my best friend. Like, we were always together. We talked all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, wait. And then look, don't get me wrong. I had a great time with this movie. I think it was fun. I think it was funny. I think the M3GAN looked like it was a very well done, creepy robot doll.
Mm-hmm.
But there are beats. So I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, am I supposed to interpret that M3GAN made that the same attachment that Katie made to M3GAN made to Gemma, and now like
while she was being built?
She just means developing her.
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because she said we talked about Jane Austen novels or something.
Yeah, when she
like
developed her and was working on it, like she was.
So now M3GAN is doing this because she's mad at Gemma.
I don't think she's mad at her. She started off learning all the AI learning and research on defense, and then she goes into learning about death and killing.
But then why give the whole speech about how you were my best friend and we spent all this time together?
Because she doesn't want her to kill her or whatever. She's trying to like reason with her at the end.
Okay.
But
she's not doing this because of her. She's just like, it's that showdown. You were my whatever. You were the chosen one. It's it's like they're just.
Okay, Star Wars. Now I get it. Now
See?
I do get it.
That's what we had to do.
Put it in
We had to
something
bring it
I
back
can
to Star Wars.
understand.
Yeah.
I do feel like there's something missing. Not necessarily that it has to be there. I mean, I think it's fine. It's just that it was faulty programming in the AI. Or she talks about like you put an AI in me that you didn't even understand or whatever.
Right.
But it's a movie, so it does feel like something should have happened, and it doesn't. Like there's no like catalyst that like this is what makes her go crazy.
Oh, sure. I think it
it's
is.
her defense of
No, I think it's that
I know
it's that
it is.
dog attack. That's what I think.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think it is.
I get that I get it that we are to take it as she's protecting Katie and she just went overboard.
Yeah.
But normally in a movie, and I think you need it sort of in a movie would be the dog attack.
It's the inhibitor chip thing. It has to be.
Right.
I don't know why they scrapped that because they show it, and I don't think if she sparked, that spark should mean either she's broken or something got tampered with, and they never address it. So it doesn't make sense to show a spark like that if it didn't. If all the spark meant was impact, the dog chomped her. But literally, like, okay, electronics. They have batteries and all this, and there's electricity flowing through them. A spark comes when something is damaged, right?
Yes.
Right.
That spark, you can't just have a spark and go back to normal like that.
Can M3GAN not get wet? She hits her with that glass of water,
Well,
and it
Pride
really messes her up.
Pride Electronics.
That's a good point though.
You're going to
She's
sell
titanium,
this
so
$10,000 toy to children,
play
and
with.
it can't get a glass of water spilled on its head?
Yeah, my kid to this day at 6 years old can't not spill something.
Well,
It's all the time.
Don't even ask what happens with the $20,000 toy.
It gets spilled. It gets spilled on. All right.
So
I mean,
I'm trying to remember, when did she get the water though? Isn't her skin kind of pulled off at that point?
No,
In the end,
it's
it's the very end of the movie.
No. It's the first. It's the first thing that Gemma hits her
She's
with.
choking her on the table in the kitchen.
It's the very first thing, and then she runs away and gets into
it
the
like
work, the
freezes her up.
workstation.
She has to pry. M3GAN gets frozen. She
Yeah,
pries the fingers off of her.
That's right. M3GAN has her
When
like,
Katie's having her
bent over the
lullaby,
table.
that really quiet moment when she's smashing the glass on the head and she doesn't come out.
That line, "It sounds like you're fighting," is so funny to me. Like, what?
So there's a fight scene. Katie ends up showing back up with Bruce, and she rips.
I guess she
M3GAN
keeps the
in
gloves in her room.
Right. She just
I don't know
she has those at
why she
her
would have
disposal.
those.
whenever
Pulls
she
her
wants
hair
them.
out
Yeah, right.
so she can
that's
look
right.
real creepy.
Super creepy. But she's also got like the the kind of the Chucky damage, but it's metal underneath and not viscera.
Yeah, she cuts her with a hedge trimmer,
A hedge trimmer. Yeah.
which she would know wouldn't work. She built
Also,
the doll. Why would she?
It needs to be if it's not gas powered, it needs to be plugged in, and there was no cord.
It could be
anywhere to
battery
be seen.
powered.
I guess that's true.
It was battery powered.
Yeah, I
all
guess
sorts
that's
of
fair.
leaf blowers, hedge trimmers,
She
weed
built
whippers,
What'd you say?
chainsaws.
Jimma built it. It's special.
It's actually it's an AI.
I was gonna say she
control.
programmed it so that it would learn how
Yeah.
to.
The 3 in hedge trimmer is spelled, the E is spelled with a 3.
That makes sense. That tracks. That
cool.
tracks.
You can see the logo.
Right.
The first two they had decommissioned because they were murdering people.
This happens to Jimma all the time.
Yeah. She is absolutely on the FBI's most wanted list at this point. So, yeah, they destroy M3GAN. The cops show up, and then everybody walks out like everybody's cool with it.
Well, it's a movie where you can't have any like falling action because it absolutely would be. Jimmy, you're going to
jail.
prison. This is you
Yeah.
killed a bunch of people. You're very responsible for this.
Your technology just murdered people. And then the last scene is Elsie kind of turning on and turning her head, and you're led to assume that M3GAN has downloaded herself into the home's AI, and that's how this ends. I enjoyed this more than *Malignant*, but
Wrong.
it
You can't.
No, you didn't.
He's not. He's not wrong. He's
Yeah.
correct.
Thank you. But it is. I would say that these would make a really good 1-2 companion pieces with each other because they are very similar in tone. Whether it's
Sometimes
like
that's the problem. Sometimes, see, right? Like Matt, that you guys sound like you're fighting. That's a really funny line in *Malignant* because *Malignant* has that
sure.
absurdist,
Yeah.
wacky tone, right? It doesn't fit because this movie's like serious, dealing with trauma sometimes, and then sometimes it's goofy stuff like that or ear pulling, right? So
right.
This had *Malignant* elements where
I've-
I was looking for *Malignant*, not part of it.
right.
I think. Okay. First of all, let me just say I agree with everyone.
Right.
But I think M3GAN is technically, on paper, a better movie. But I don't ever care to like see this again. I don't think it's very good. I mean, it's like whatever. I enjoyed watching it. It will fade from my memory immediately. *Malignant*, I would watch that again with a group of people.
Oh my god! Or
You know what
theater,
I mean?
right?
Malignant,
Like
I will
a
gi-
rowdy
I will-
show at the theater.
I will give you that. *Malignant* is a pretty great party movie.
It's fun, It's
Right,
so
and
fun.
this to
I
me
will,
gets
I will concede that. Yes.
This is good enough to be like a mediocre movie that is almost in some ways worse than being a bad movie.
I just think tonally it was a little awkward in the writing. Like we said, we're picking apart things, which, in a horror movie especially, like you don't always need explanations for stuff, but it just doesn't jive with its own rules sometimes or logic to where it's a little bit, it takes you out of it a little bit. So
Yeah.
And *Malignant* is flawless airtight.
Well,
So you can
that's
see where that
exactly
would be.
right. They establish it. They set up these rules. They play by them. Perfect.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I
is-
went in expecting very little
Yeah.
and was reasonably entertained. And so that's it exceeded my
That's-
expectations, which were very low.
Yeah, I saw just kind of the tomato meter or whatever. Tried to not read any reviews, but saw that it was getting favorable reviews. I thought this was going to be like a Smile level. You think it's going to be bad, and then hey, that was actually pretty good. I don't-
Smile is
Smile
pretty
was much
fantastic.
better. Smile
yeah,
was good.
it didn't get
Yeah.
anywhere near that for
This
me.
has a
but-
94% on Rotten Tomatoes out of 161. Like 94. More than
I mean,
average.
I get it
And,
though.
you know,
It's not
it-
bad.
There's no gradient though to rate Rotten
No,
Tomatoes.
totally.
Right?
This is
it
like
could be
C,
a
this
lot
like
of
C pluses average.
Right.
But also, I think it's with the critics. It's like I think most critics went in with very low expectations.
Yeah.
I think critics know January can be a dumping ground for films.
For sure.
And so,
Yeah.
anytime you get something in January that isn't just complete dog crap, you're just like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah, that works. I
you
can
have
get
to-
behind that.
You have to look at it this way. So Rotten Tomatoes, a C or higher is fresh. This movie, guess what the average is?
A
out
C?
of 161.
C plus.
7.2. So
Yeah.
it's 0.2
All right.
over the threshold. So it's 94% fresh with 7.2, meaning if if 94% of people said 6.9, or you know what I mean, like it would be rotten. So it's right on the. But you're right, pass fail wise, like it's entertaining enough where it exceeded their expectations.
Yeah,
they had fun with that third act. I'm telling you, once they got to the place, like I was eating my popcorn. I'm having a good time. To me, at least,
it's a lot of popcorn restraint, Kevin. That you still have popcorn
just
left
a little bit, just
an hour into this movie.
I know, trying to make it savor it.
When you see a bad movie, do you not touch the popcorn?
Yeah, I'm not eating this.
It's a
and
large.
isn't your now we need to drill down on this. Isn't your soda flat by then though? Like now your soda's all watered down and room temperature.
I actually don't like to drink with eating. I like to eat first and then drink.
I tend to do the same thing. And so so if you're not eating your popcorn until an hour into the movie, now your soda is completely watered down.
No,
you a no ice guy? Is that what's going on? You know ice?
I don't do ice actually, but
because you're cheap or you don't like ice. You want more soda.
Please take the ice off my bill, please. That's very
but you get more soda. But you get more soda.
But you do get more soda.
Yeah, it's
right.
So it's efficient. Yeah.
Oh, you're
feeling
yourself now, though.
I was by myself for this screening, so I had a large popcorn. I was just eating it throughout the whole thing.
So you're a glutton. Go on.
Wow.
Large popcorn for one human being. That's
a large soda.
If you know me, I buy the $5 buckets that you can refill for $5.
Oh, that's right. We established you were cheap because of the no ice. Go on.
And also glutton. What he didn't say is that he had gone through 4 tubs of popcorn.
Now wait a minute.
Before.
All this is because I made a comment. I was eating popcorn during the third act and enjoying it. What is happening here?
Yeah.
Sorry. Forget I said anything. I was watching this. I wish I had popcorn, but I didn't. It was very fun.
Now, Kevin,
you're saying you didn't get popcorn? You're so cheap that you didn't even buy popcorn?
This is the thing. I was very thirsty, but I ran out of soda. I put so much ice in the cup. I couldn't. It's gone.
This guy's balling.
Rookie mistake.
The next time this comes up, he's going to be, I waited to eat my celery until...
So yeah, I think this is this. I'm always a big proponent of going to the theater. Maybe not for this one. You don't need to see this one in the theater.
It was okay,
but it is worth a watch.
Yeah, it was okay. My audience was. I ended up with 2 other people in the theater, and they gave a couple laughs, a couple times. But but it's weird too, though. I saw it during the day to get it in. Yeah. So a horror movie at the theater with 2 people during the day just doesn't hit the same. So I get that.
Yeah.
Nope, that's true.
Matt, how was your crowd? You saw it at night on a Saturday night. What was the...
boy. Look, I know I'm not supposed to say I hate the theater. I know I'm supposed to be a movie guy. I'm supposed to be like, get out there, everybody save the theater.
Are you saying the Gen Z crowd was there?
Oh, they were there.
Boy.
And there's someone way down in front on their phone the whole time.
100% right.
Just scrolling and scrolling. And I'm thinking, why are you here? Why did you do this? Like, fine that you're on your phone. Look, I get it. You're bored, you're just scrolling. Why did you pay $15 to do that and then interrupt everybody's thing?
It's a legit question.
And then a girl behind us took a phone call.
Oh.
And it seemed to be
It was
upsetting.
important, though, right? Like a family member had passed away.
Maybe she was calling the one who was scrolling and being like, hey,
man, you
cut
gotta
that
get
out.
off your phone.
I can see that from up here.
Yeah.
But it was just a very, no whispering, just a full volume.
Yeah.
Well, no, I told her. But I did.
But can I tell you, that is why I go to the movie theater in the middle of the day, though.
Typically, I
That's
would
legit.
too.
I just can't. Katie worked on Friday, and I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to see the movie tomorrow during the day. I'm sorry, but I'll try to go early. We get the rest of the day together. She goes, oh no, you can go after I get off work. I go, oh no, thank you.
No.
A horror movie Friday night that it opens? No, thank you.
A PG-13 horror movie, mind you.
Kevin,
And
the
then
proper response there is, no, honey, I love you so much. I want to spend time with you.
Yeah, you're like
Like,
no.
that's what you're
I
supposed to
also
say.
had-
But
when-
the next day I would be going and not spending time, though. It was the same.
But it's Friday night, honey. We need to be together on a Friday night. It's date night.
Oh, okay. I will take note. Thank you. Taking note here.
When
I mean,
Katie slapped Gemma, someone yells out, "Get the belt!" and everyone's laughing. And I'm like, "Shut up! Shut up! I don't care how funny you are. Shut up!"
Did you turn around and go, I have a movie podcast to research for. I am trying to pay attention.
Well, and you better believe I said the same thing to the manager.
I hope you got
Karen
a free
F.
popcorn.
Basler.
Yeah,
Are
right.
people that scream fake And I know they're faking. I know they're just trying to be like, everybody look at me. I'm really...
Or hold me closer.
Hate it.
Tony
Hate it.
Joe does that with movie boyfriend Brian Spath all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Oh, I'm so
He's a big jumper.
Lots of canoodling
lots
between
of
the two
lots
kids.
of canoodling.
Also, why they go during the day.
That's right. Well, there's less.
Bring a
people.
blanket. That's my hand stuff.
No, man, we'll just put it all full on
They're
display.
like, we don't need butter for our popcorn.
No, that's fine.
So I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the virtual table and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21.
This is Matt. I'm in the rotation. Look, hey, man, honestly, I'm hard to track down, but I'll tell you where I'm always at is the Real Spoilers Patreon. That's my main thing. That's the place to find me. Patreon.com/Real Spoilers.
Now, wait a minute. I know you're being humble and everything. Didn't you just start a little podcast or something? Like, I know we don't usually like to mix that in with this, but like, is there another one that they could find you on?
Oh, Matt F. Bosler's podcast. That's just, we put up a couple episodes, dropped it for 8 months. Who knows?
You settled a beef recently. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that was a lie. I lied.
Yeah.
He never settles that beef.
Joe, there's a post-credit scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to listen till after the song, and then they talk about that. It's But now it's a new year, so you were looking for co-hosts. They can tune in to see if you found your co-hosts or not.
Yeah. We've had a potential co-host trials competition been going on for a little bit, and tune in, see if we finally figured that out.
Perfect. Well, good luck with that. This is Kevin R. Brackett on Twitter. Thanks.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. And, of course, our Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers, which features even more Matt. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Theodore writes a letter to Catherine.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice.